Hey guys, today we're going to be taking a look at the SEG42 from Matador, which is a really versatile and spacious 42-liter travel bag. And in the past, we've looked at a few different items from Matador, such as their packable backpack and towel, and I was really impressed with the versatility and durability of those items, and I was excited to see what Matador would be bringing to a full-fledged travel bag. I was also particularly excited about this bag just because it seemed to have a very unique organizational layout compared to a lot of the other travel bags that we featured on the channel. And so it seemed like Matador placed a big emphasis on finding ways to simplify the one bag travel experience. So taking a lot of the benefits of a traditional style travel backpack with those of a duffel and a packing cube style system and kind of putting them all together into a really unique package. So I've been testing this out for the past couple of weeks and it's been a really great experience. The bag has an impressive amount of space, it feels very durable, and it's actually surprisingly lightweight for its size. It has some great weather resistant materials, and the organizational layout that they've created here is really interesting and fun to configure. So I'm really excited to share it with you guys, and I want to thank the company for sending the bag for me to test out. And with all that being said, let's go ahead and jump in. Starting off with the outside of the bag, I really like the overall aesthetic. This has a pretty modern look, but it does have a lot of zippers and attachment points along the front and outside, which gives it a little bit of a technical feel, but for the most part, I still really like how the bag doesn't manage to look super touristy or backpackery. It just manages to blend in well into more of a city environment for walking around while traveling. And then jumping into the materials, on the outside, the bag is made out of a mixture of 800 and 420D nylon that feels not only very durable, but it's also pretty lightweight. The bag, when it's empty, comes in at a little bit over 2 pounds, which is really great so that you can pack this out but still not go over a lot of the weight limits on some of the stricter airlines. And then the material on the outside is also coated with a polyurethane and DWR coating that's going to offer a lot of weather resistance. It really feels like water is not going to be getting inside this bag. And then it also has some very well protected zippers for all of the compartments. These also all have some nice coating to help keep water out. One thing that I did notice about the zippers, however, is that they don't seem to be YKK. I wasn't able to find any branding on them, but they've worked well for the most part. They've been very smooth and they feel pretty durable. I did run into a small issue with one of the zippers on the back that I'll talk about more in a little bit, but for the most part, I've been impressed with the build quality of the bag and it feels like it's going to be useful for many trips going forward. The last note that I'll make on the materials is that I really like the use of Hypalon throughout the bag. So for the zipper pulls, this feels really nice. It gives it a tactile and durable feeling. And then you also have a few attachment points throughout the bag that also use Hypalon that are going to allow you to attach additional accessories with something like a carabiner. So currently what I have here is my hero clip that I like to use to attach various accessories and to also hang the bag up. And then I've also used it to attach something like my Beats Studio wireless headphones when I didn't want to place them inside of the bag. Continuing along the outside of the bag, I was sad to see that there's no external water bottle pocket, but the bag does have really nice durable handles all around. So on the side you have this handle that's going to be great for carrying this like a briefcase, and I really like the material on all the handles. It has this kind of thicker seatbelt like material that's pretty comfortable to hold. And then on the bottom and top of the bag you have additional handles that are just going to make it very easy to maneuver the bag even when it's a little bit more packed out, and are going to be very helpful for tossing this into an overhead storage compartment. And then jumping into the capacity, the bag comes in at about 42 liters as stated by the name of the bag. And to me, this is a pretty good bag for one bag travel. I was easily able to fit all the items that I would normally take with me on a 2 to 3 week trip. So just a ton of space offered here. And then I really like that because the bag isn't really that rigid, it's able to not look quite as big. Even when it's a little bit more packed out, it doesn't really stick out that much. It's also a very tall bag, which helps distribute the look a little bit. So it doesn't really feel like if you're jumping onto public transit, you're gonna be bumping into people too awkwardly, and you'll still be able to navigate cities pretty well. And then because the bag isn't too rigid, it's going to be great for squeezing into those overhead storage compartments that are maybe a little bit fuller. This is always a big benefit that I've found with traveling with duffel bags, so nice to see that carry over here. Now, because this is 42 liters, it can get pretty big and heavy. So if you're traveling on international airlines, this is definitely a bag that I would be a little bit more worried about having to check just given the size. And then as I mentioned a little bit earlier, it is a pretty tall bag. So even though you might be able to carry it on, it might be a little bit of a struggle to find an overhead storage space for it, especially if you have to board the plane a little bit later and everything's getting a little bit fuller. So just something to keep in mind there, but still a really versatile size that can hold a ton and is going to be particularly great for road trips. Moving into the straps and the back paneling, so far the bag has been pretty comfortable to wear. The straps have an okay amount of padding. They're actually a little bit thin than I would expect for a bag of this size, but they've been pretty comfortable. They're soft right out of the box, and then on the inside they have this meshy material to help prevent moisture from building up. And I really like this honeycomb pattern on the EVA foam. It made it a little bit more comfortable than I was actually expecting given how thin the straps are. So for the most part, it still ended up feeling pretty good. And then the straps also have a nice width to help prevent the bag from digging into your shoulders when it's a little bit more packed out. On top of that, the bag also has an adjustable and removable sternum strap to help distribute the weight. And then moving down into the bottom of the straps, first of all, I'm gonna call out these strap keepers here. I really like this system. It helps keep everything from kind of flopping around, and it's very easy to adjust the length on the straps to have a comfortable fit. And then if you find that you have to check the bag, or you just want to use this as more of a duffel style bag and you don't want the straps kind of getting in the way, you do have the ability to tuck them away. It's very easy to remove the straps. I really like the anodized aluminum clips used here. They feel very, very durable, and it's very easy to get them on and off for whenever you want to tuck the straps away. And then once you've released the strap, you can actually tuck them away into these zippered pockets here at the top to give the bag a little bit of a cleaner look. And this is the area where I ran into some issues with the zippers. So the zippers that are used here are actually really small, and in general, I'd be a little bit concerned about the longevity of this style of zipper, but as I was actually testing the bag out, one of the zipper pulls ended up breaking while I was pulling it. I didn't do anything too crazy with the zipper, and I contacted the company and they mentioned that there might have just been a small defect. So I've always used Matador's products and they've held up very well, and they have a pretty good warranty where this would definitely be covered, but just something that I wanted to call out in general as a concern with these smaller zippers here. And then moving into the back paneling, this has also felt pretty comfortable. The bag does have some padding here, but this is probably the area of the bag that could use maybe the most improvement. The padding is not super thick and there's no sort of meshy material or any elevation to create airflow, so I did notice my back would tend to get pretty sweaty while wearing this. And then another thing about this is that there's no sort of frame sheet on the bag, so it's not very rigid, which, as I mentioned earlier, is nice for allowing you to squeeze the bag into tighter spots, but it would have been nice to have at least a little bit of rigidity here to just help distribute the weight, especially when the bag is a little bit more packed out and you're wearing it on your back. It would have been nice to just feel some extra support. And then jumping into the organizational options, the first area that we're going to take a look at is the laptop compartment. So I really like that this has a side access laptop compartment. It makes it very easy to get your laptop in and out, particularly when you're going through airport security. And I really like how well protected the zipper on this laptop is. It's also a really nice large zipper to make it easier to get your laptop in and out, even if you have a larger device. So this is meant to hold up to a 15 or 16 inch MacBook Pro. Currently what I have in here is my 13 inch MacBook Pro. You can see how much leftover space there is at the top for a taller device. And so on the inside, no sort of fleece lining or anything like that to help against scratching. And the compartment does have some padding, but similar to my complaints with the back paneling, this isn't that rigid, so it's a little bit padded, but it would have been nice to just have seen some extra protection here, considering this is for your laptop. And then on the bottom, the compartment isn't suspended off the bottom of the ground. There is a little bit of padding, so if you place your bag down a little bit harder, there's some protection, but it would have been nice to just have seen that been elevated just a little bit more to add some extra peace of mind. And so pulling my laptop out, now with the compartment empty, you can get a better look at the inside. So it really does have plenty of space. It comes up a nice amount if you happen to have a thicker device, or if you want to place it into a protective sleeve so that you have some extra padding, it's going to have plenty of space to do so. And then here on the inside, I'm kind of squeezing up a little bit so you can see some of that honeycomb EVA foam that we saw on the straps kind of poking through here, so just to kind of showcase a little bit of the padding. So in general, nice to have a separate and quick access area to get your laptop, but I just wish that it had been a little bit more padded. Next up, you have a few simple quick access pockets on the top and bottom of the bag. So I'll take a look at this bottom one first. This is actually where you would place the bag down on the ground if you were wearing this like a backpack. And so opening this up, there's not a whole lot going on with this. It's a pretty simple compartment. I liked flatter items for this area since it's something that I might place on the ground. I wouldn't want anything too bulky, just getting the full weight of the bag, and no sort of internal organization in this pocket. So currently what I have in here is just my Field Notes notebook. And then I also threw in a simple nail clipper and a stylus for my tablet. So just a really simple compartment here. I love how much space this has, but again, chose to leave it a little bit emptier so that I didn't have a bunch of stuff getting crushed on the bottom of the bag. And then at the top or side of the bag, depending on how you're actually holding it, this could be seen as the traditional side pockets on a duffel style bag. But since I'm using this as a backpack, I'll call this the top. You have another simple quick access zipper, plenty of space. I really like how much space is offered in all these compartments, and it just gives you a lot of flexibility with what you can store in here. Now, there isn't any sort of internal organization, so it can get just a little bit messy, but I really love the flexibility that this offers. So jumping in, the first thing that I have here is my Ray-Ban sunglasses with their case, and then I have my Blue Pop portable Bluetooth speaker and power bank. And then behind those, I just have a few smaller tech accessories. So I have my GoPro Hero 3 Plus. And then the last thing that I have in here is just a simple lightning cable to charge my phone and my tablet. And even with the items that I had in there was still plenty of leftover space, so it would have given me some additional capacity if I wanted to toss in my phone and my wallet or other accessories while going through TSA. The next areas that we're going to be taking a look at are what really make this bag so unique. And so as you can see on the outside, there's a bunch of different compartments. And what this is essentially Matador incorporating a series of packing cubes into the travel bag itself, which is something that I hadn't seen in any other bags. And so far, it's been a really fun thing to experiment with. It's very different than the way that I'm used to packing. And so I'm gonna go ahead and open up the clamshell style of the bag first, just so that you can kind of see what it looks like on the inside when each of the compartments are filled up. So each of these areas is a separate sort of packing cube that allows you to really divide everything in your bag in a lot of different ways. So you can separate things out by outfits, by days of the week, by different style of clothing. You can also use them to separate out dirty clothes or wet clothes. So you just have a lot of flexibility. And then because these are soft compartments, you can actually move them around and take full advantage of all the volume in the bag. So the first thing that I'll mention is that each of the segments is labeled with the size of the packing cube to help you kind of see which items you might want to place into the different areas. And a cool thing about this system is that all of the areas of the bag are accessible from the outside. So it's not like a normal duffel or travel bag where if you want to get something that's on the bottom or in a particular area of the bag, you have to open it up and kind of unorganize everything. It's really nice to be able to just reach in to specific sections and grab anything that you want, such as your DOP kit or a jacket. One thing that I will mention, however, with this, that's a little bit of a concern is the fact that all of these compartments are not lockable. So if you're walking around in a city that you don't know, or you just have this on your back, there is a little bit of a concern of pickpockets maybe being able to get in. So you want to keep that in mind with how you organize everything. But besides that, I really like the quick access nature of each of these areas. And so starting off at the top, this is one of the smaller segments of the bag. It comes in at 6 liters, but that's still a ton of space. And so I chose to use this more for non kind of clothing items. This was more for my tech accessories and some of my toiletries. So you can see just how deep this compartment is. What I currently have in here is my Bellroy Classic pouch, which has some of my dongles and chargers and things like that. And then I also tossed in my Air DOP kit, which is one of the larger DOP kits that I normally take with me. And even with those items in there, there was still just so much leftover space. I was also able to toss in a simple deck of playing cards. And then I liked that it still had some flexibility. So if I wanted to travel with a jacket, it would be really easy to just kind of stuff it in here near the top, or maybe some gloves if you're traveling to a colder climate. So really liked having that extra bit of space. Underneath that top compartment, the next segment is a little bit bigger, coming in at 9 liters. And here I started to store some of my clothes. So I chose to separate this out by type of clothes, similar to what I do in my packing cube. So in this first one here, since it's not the largest compartment, I used it to store mainly my shirts that I normally like to travel with. So I was able to kind of roll them up and place a bunch of different shirts into here. I think I was able to fit 5, and you can see there was still some leftover space. I didn't really pack each of the areas out to its fullest capacity just because there was so much volume. And so pulling these out, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 5 shirts. So a ton of shirts. I had to kind of roll these up. I thought it was the easiest way to be able to take full advantage of the compartment, but I would have been able to fit maybe an extra one. My only concern with this style of kind of packing cube is that for a nicer dress shirt, I wouldn't really want to roll it up like this. So I probably would have had to place it into the clamshell style area that we'll take a look at in a little bit. Up next is the largest segment of the bag. This one comes in at 12 liters. So this is the area that I chose to use for storing my shorts and my jeans, since those are a little bit larger. So opening this up, again, not completely packed out. The bag isn't exploding, but I was still able to fit a ton of stuff. And so pulling my first shorts out, this is kind of a pair of swim trunks that I like to take with me. And then I have just a simple pair of shorts here. And then behind that, I have a few pairs of jeans. So how many was I able to fit in here? Let me see, I have one pair of jeans, and then I have another pair of jeans. And I think that's the last thing that I have in the compartment. So here you can get a look, just kind of a cavernous amount of space there. That's normally what I would pack into my larger double-sided and compressible packing cube. So glad to see that I was still able to fit it into this area pretty comfortably. Now, as you're probably noticing that I'm pulling the bulkier items out of my compartment, it's a little bit tricky sometimes with the larger items, just because the space of the zipper, it doesn't open up fully flat like a packing cube would. So that can be a little bit difficult to manage, especially if you're trying to get to one of the items in particular. But I think that's a fair trade-off considering how easy it is to reach in and grab specific items as opposed to opening the bag up completely. And then as you move down towards the bottom of the bag, the segments start to get a little bit smaller again. So we have another 9-liter area, which is still a ton of space. And so opening this up, I chose to use this area for my socks and underwear just to keep them easily accessible. So I threw in 5 or 6 pairs of underwear and then a ton of different socks. So this just kind of became a little bit of a hodgepodge of stuff, but I was just trying to see how much I could actually squeeze into here. So here, what do I have? 3 pairs of socks, 4, 5 pairs of socks, and then 5 pair of underwear, which is normally what I would take with me on a multi-week trip and just do a little bit of laundry. So I was glad to be able to squeeze that in really easily. And then for this last segment near the bottom, you have another slightly smaller 6-liter area, but still with plenty of space. And so here I just chose to use this kind of for miscellaneous accessories. I have a few items from Matador. So I have the Nano Dry shower towel, which is great for traveling. You can just pack up a pretty full-size towel that works great for going to the beach or the pool. And then I also threw in the Matador Free Reign 24 because this is such a large bag. When you're traveling, if you want to use something for your day-to-day, it's nice to have a packable day bag. So I really like the Free Reign 24 because of its lightweight and because I could just kind of toss it into one of these small segments. So nice amount of flexibility here. This might have also been a great spot to put some flip-flops or a pair of shoes, but I chose to leave that on the inside of the bag, as we'll take a look at now. So moving into the main clamshell style area, the first thing I'll call out is that Matador was really thoughtful around how they kind of made it easy to identify what zippers go with each area. So in order to showcase which is the zipper for the main suitcase style opening, they made these zipper pulls red so that you could easily identify that. And then the zipper goes all the way around, allowing you to open this up and use this more like a traditional duffel, or to hold some of the larger items that maybe don't fit into the specific segments. And so no sort of internal organization in this area. This is where I chose to put my shoes. So I just have the same shoes that you've seen in all my other travel bag videos. So just a flat pair of sneakers. And then I also have a pair of Toms that I like to take with me. But because of the amount of space offered here, this is actually one of the few travel bags that I felt was big enough to actually hold a pair of boots. So in the footage here, you can actually see me putting my chukka boots that I normally like to wear with me onto flights. They actually fit in here pretty comfortably. So if I was traveling into the outdoors and I wanted to take a few larger pair of hiking shoes, for example, it's nice to see that I would have the flexibility to do so just because of the ways that the packing cubes actually adjust their size. And so if you still prefer to use normal packing cubes and you don't want to take full advantage of these segments here, there's actually a flap that you can hide away when you don't want to use it. But if you want to hide all of the little segments, this actually comes down along the side of the bag, and you can actually zip these away to give a cleaner look to the bag, and then you can just use the main area like a very traditional duffel style bag. And so I actually packed this out with my normal packing cubes as I normally like to do. So I had my double-sided and compressible packing cube from Arquito, and then my smaller packing cube for my socks and underwear and a few pairs of shoes, and I was easily able to fit those items. There was plenty of leftover space considering this is a 42-liter bag. So I love all the flexibility offered by this simple compartment. If I was traveling for a little bit of a longer time, that's probably how I would choose to pack. And that kind of brings up the question of, do I prefer packing with packing cubes or with this new style of segments that Matador has included here? And honestly, I'm not completely sure. I think because I've been traveling so long with normal packing cubes, it's just something that I'm comfortable with. And to some level, I feel like that's still gonna be the best way to maximize the amount of space that you can use in the bag, just using the flatter packing cubes that I normally have. I think that it just kind of compresses everything down and it just is a very efficient use of space, whereas these segments here don't use the space quite as efficiently, but it provides a lot of convenience and just quick access. So it really kind of depends on what your preference is and how you like to pack and organize your stuff while you're traveling. But the best thing is that you don't have to choose. You can actually use both ways because of how the bag has been laid out. So I really like how much choice is offered here and all the different ways that you can experiment with how you pack out your bag. So overall, it's been a really good experience. The bag has a solid build quality. I really like this integrated packing cube system. And if you're looking for a very spacious and durable bag that's gonna just make it very easy to organize all of your stuff, then this is gonna be a great option to check out. And so to wrap up, it's been a really great experience testing out the Matador SEG42 over the past couple of weeks. The bag has had an impressive amount of space. I really like the build quality and lightweight materials that it has, and it's also been great to use its unique organizational layout. And so you can currently purchase this on Matador's site starting at around $190, which is definitely a bit of an investment, but I think it's a pretty reasonable price considering the features and build quality that the bag has to offer, and it also compares well to other similar bags in this price range. And so as I was testing this out, the first bag this made me think of is the Nomadic Travel Bag, which has been one of my favorite larger size travel bags to use. It has a really impressive organizational layout. It has a lot of pocketing that really allows you to kind of organize all of your stuff very easily. It also has plenty of space and a really nice duffel style opening to make everything easy to pack out. And that bag also has a very comfortable harness system. The straps feel really nice and it has a great removable waist belt. So it's just a very versatile and weather resistant bag. That one's gonna come in at a little bit of a higher price range, but if you're looking for something with a similar kind of organizational layout and space that's gonna offer a little bit more comfort as far as the overall carry, then that's gonna be a great option to check out. The next bag this made me think of is the standard luggage coat travel backpack, which is a really solid and versatile larger size carry-on bag that is very comfortable to wear. It has a great organizational layout, a solid build quality, and it comes in at a very similar price point to this. I really like that that bag has some expandability as well, and you can also tuck the straps away and use it as a shoulder bag. So if you're looking for more of a traditional style backpack that's gonna offer a similar size and a lot of organizational options, and that's gonna be a great option to keep in mind. And then the last option that I'll mention here, if you have a little bit of a higher budget, is the Air Capsule Pack Max, which is a really versatile and stylish travel bag. It has plenty of space. It's offered in a 35 liter and a 40 liter size, so it's gonna just be able to hold a ton of stuff. And I really like the simple organizational layout on that one. It just has a large duffel style opening to allow you to really easily pack everything in. It also has a nice amount of protection for all of your tech, and it's a very, very comfortable bag. So if you're looking for something that has a little bit more of a modern aesthetic that's still gonna offer a lot of weather resistance similar to this one, but that's just gonna be a little bit more comfortable to carry, and that's gonna be one of the best options to check out. With that being said, the SEG42 holds up really well against all those bags, and if you're looking for a very spacious and lightweight bag that's gonna offer a ton of weather resistance and a really interesting and unique organizational layout, then this is gonna be a fantastic option to check out. And I'm definitely curious to hear what you guys think of the SEG42 and all the different pockets that it offers. And if there are any similar bags that you think I should feature on the channel, as always, please let me know in the comments. And I want to thank the company again for sending the bag for me to test out. And if you guys found this video useful, please give us a like. And if you haven't already, please go ahead and subscribe so you don't miss any upcoming videos. And thank you guys so much.